Resorts World Manila. How are you all doing this afternoon? All good with your steak and your bread and your butter? I am Jana of Resorts World Manila and I will be your host for this afternoon's very exclusive press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing comes closer to perfection than a gala night filled with enchanting music, courtesy of one of our most respected artists today. Welcome once again to today's exclusive press conference as we announce 2 dates with our country's pride, Broadway and Laurence Olivier awardee, multi-talented singer and actress. I'm very sure you all know who I'm talking about. The unparalleled Miss Leia Salonga for 2 Perfect 10 performances at the Newport Performing Arts Theater here in Resorts World Manila this coming August. Before we proceed with the program, we'd like to thank our very generous sponsors, of course, Wolfgang Steakhouse for hosting our press conference this afternoon. How about a round of applause? More steak, more bread, more butter, and dessert later on. We're also live on our Facebook via the official Resorts World Manila Facebook page. So we encourage all our followers to please interact with us, send us your questions for Ms. Leia Salonga to answer later on. And of course, please take note of our official hashtags, and of course, please use them when you post about this afternoon's press conference. They are hashtag LSPerfect10 and hashtag RWM events to keep tab of the many offerings of Resorts World Manila, of course, for our 10th anniversary. Okay, of course, we now move on to the main part of the program. We have all followed her stellar career from her humble beginnings as Annie in 1980 to when she gave every Filipino pride through her iconic roles as Kim in both the West End and Broadway productions of Miss Saigon. We applauded her when she won a Tony Award and a Laurence Olivier Award for her role, and of course cheered for earning the distinction of being the first Asian actress to play the coveted roles of the Eponine and Fantine in Broadway's Les Miserables. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no better way of introducing this very special person this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, she is indeed the perfect performer. My pleasure to introduce to you the one and only Miss Leia Salonga.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Ma'am, gusto.
Am I supposed to talk some more? Full disclosure, it's very distracting with the smell of steak in the air. This may be one of the first times that I'm doing this, but hoping you enjoy it anyway. Villena Osorio.
Look at me, I never asked for a perfect bride or a perfect daughter. Can it be? I'm not meant to play this part. Now I see that if I were truly to be myself, I would break my family's heart. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Why is my reflection someone I don't know? Somehow I cannot hide who I am, though I've tried. When will my reflection show who I am inside? How I pray that a time will come I can free myself and meet their expectations. On that day, I'll discover some way to be myself and to make my family proud. They want a docile lamb. No one knows who I am. Must there be a secret me I'm forced to hide? Must I pretend that I'm someone else for all time? When will my reflection show who I am inside? When will my reflection show who I am inside?
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Leia Salonga. Wow! How about another round of applause for Miss Leia? That was, of course, the human heart from Once on This Island, and of course, the very classic Reflections. Who here has made Reflections their theme song for life? I'm sure of you were too, including me. Wow! I'm getting goosebumps listening, hearing you sing those two beautiful songs here live. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very
of
much
course.
to our friends from the media. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay, so at this point, I'm sure there's a number of questions from our friends from the media that they want to throw at you right now this afternoon for the concert and about your upcoming shows in general. So I prepared my own set of questions first. Mahirap na, baka mahuli ko ako. Yes, don't worry guys, because later on, of course, you'll have your chance. I'll open the floor for your own questions, and we'll try to squeeze in pocket interviews with Miss Leia. And of course, those who are watching us live via the Resort World Manila Facebook page, please type in your questions for Miss Leia on the comment section and we'll get to you in just a bit. Okay, right now, I'll just go on and ask you my first question, if you don't mind. My first question is, what are some of your most perfect 10 experiences throughout your career?
Oh, okay. We're gonna have to go far back. I guess if I'm gonna go back and back and back, I think definitely getting to perform in Annie at the CCP when I was 9. getting cast as Kim in Miss Saigon and being able to do that show both in London and in New York. I think being on Broadway is one of those dreams that a lot of performers from here have, and to be able to do that, it's definitely something very, very special. Oh, thank you, sir. Can I have that one? Let's see, what else? Being the first Asian performer doing Les Mis, and that was something I felt I really, really wanted to achieve in my career. I think more than anything else that had come before up until that point. Only because nobody else had done it before, so I wanted to do it. And of course, getting cast for the Disney movies, and just being able to say that I'm a working actor, and then getting picked to be a coach on The Voice, and then turning that into an opportunity to pay it forward, to pay back my coaches and my own teachers that have taught me so much, and to be able to then throw the energy back out into the universe, and then see what your team is doing, and it's just been quite the ride, and it hasn't stopped yet. So I think there will be many more of these, I guess, perfect 10 moments to happen in my life as I continue.
Well, I'm sure everybody will agree here that we somehow feel like we've all been part of your perfect 10 milestones.
I mean, there are a lot of members of the press here that I have met as a teenager, that I have met in my early 20s, and these are people that are still around. So you guys must be doing something right.
I love me.
Yeah, so people that have seen me through puberty. So it's a little bit embarrassing, but we've kind of seen that together.
All right, speaking of Perfect 10, since your upcoming show with Resorts World is called Perfect 10, we heard that you handpicked your very special guests for the show.
Yeah.
Could you tell us who they are and why you've chosen them?
Well, these two young ones, Esam Dolores and Nicole Chen, I mean, yes, Nicole is my daughter, but this is something that she loves to do. And well, Lola loved to watch her on stage, so sige na pagbigyan. But I mean, she's actually somebody that has appeared professionally in musicals here. I mean, she did Matilda, and that's a role that she worked hard to prepare for the auditions. And so she walked into that audition room knowing exactly what she needed to do, and it was something I think that she learned from. I wanted her to go through the experience only because now you understand how hard it is, huh? Now you know that this is not a walk in the park, and I wanted her to realize that this is not something easy to do. And Asang was on my team on The Voice. That's where I first heard her sing, and then she has gone on to do Matilda as well for Atlantis, and she has just been continuing to record and to appear. And I mean, I just saw her, and now she's growing up to be this young lady, and growing more beautiful and growing more talented. And then I love guesting her in concerts just because she's so good. We also have Tanya Manalang, who is kind of a mainstay here at Resorts World. She was in Saigon as Eva Lozada's alternate, and has herself garnered, I think, a lot of some positive notices for having done that. And here's a story about her. Her house and my house, where I used to live when I lived with my mother, were literally shared a wall. Like the back wall was shared. So I could hear her singing over the wall. If I was in the right spot in my house, I could hear a young woman singing, and that was her. It turned out to be her. And if they had parties, if they had visitors, I could also hear it. Not a bad thing. We've not filed any complaints with the neighborhood association or anything like that. And finally, we have Michael K. Lee, who has been my leading man quite a few times. And I've not had an Asian leading man in a lot of shows. So, not counting the films, because that's mostly here. But they're playing our song together, we've done Miss Saigon together, and we did Allegiance together. I mean, he's been a leading man like 3 times. That's kind of rare for somebody like me. And so we interact really well, we have great rapport with one another, and we have seen each other grow from our mid to late 20s until now, when we both have families and get to talk about that. And I think our friendship has grown even stronger over the years. And he's just somebody who's supremely talented and somebody he's just ridiculous.
Oh,
He's just ridiculous, and I wanted him to come and be able to reacquaint himself with Filipino audiences.
Yes, that's a great lineup that makes everybody here so much more excited for
Yeah.
August 30 and 31.
Yeah, I think Michael still has fans from when he did their Playing Our Song here, and I think they're wanting to see what's happened in the last, say, 20 or so years.
Yes, we're so looking forward to Michael and Tanya and Esther and of course Nicole. I saw her and Matilda. She was wonderful. Congratulations. By the way, Perfect 10 also features the stage direction of course,
Floyd
Mr. Floyd
Quintos.
Quintos and the musical direction of Maestro Gerard Salonga with, of course, the ABS-CBN Philharmonic Orchestra. Also among Miss Leia's special guests, as we mentioned, for Perfect 10 is singer, stage actor, and writer Michael K. Lee, who starred alongside Miss Leia in Miss Saigon and more recently in Legends. Michael also took on notable roles in musicals such as Pacific Overtures, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Rent, among others. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us this afternoon, so of course, he sent us a very special video greeting. Please all watch this.
Hi everyone, it's Michael Cayley, and I'm excited to announce that I'll be coming to the Philippines for Perfect 10, a gala performance celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Resorts World Manila. I know you're as excited as I am, so please mark your calendars for August 30th and 31st for an amazing night of song and celebration. Hope to see you there.
How about a round of
I mean,
applause?
that voice. just
Is that his better voice, or that's his
I wouldn't
normal?
know. No. That's just how he speaks. But when as friends, I think then it just goes up and down.
Yeah.
But
How
that's his
about
voiceover artist.
How about a round of applause for Michael Cayley? I'm sure he's looking at us on Facebook. I hope.
I hope so.
Okay, now I'm down to my last question before I open the floor to our friends from the media. Your concert is, of course, part of Resorts World Manila's 10th anniversary celebrations, and Resorts World Manila, as everybody here know, has been championing Filipino talent from day one of its inception in the industry, way back 2009 to present. How much do you share Resorts World Manila's objective of bringing Philippine theater to more international audiences, and how far are we from realizing it, in your opinion?
Well, the cool thing about what Resorts World and their partners and artistic directors, Menchula Yulo and Michael Williams, and what they're doing is now they're developing original Filipino material, and it's also now financially viable to produce original Filipino works. I mean, it's been done with Rank of Ages, with Peta, and now here is Ang Huling El Bimbo. They're both jukebox musicals, and maybe because the music is also so familiar and so Pinoy in its sensibility, as well as in its expression, that I guess the catalogs of Ages and the Eraserheads made them the most appropriate and right for something like this. I saw El Bimbo, like there was like the first run, and then there was the second run, and now it's like the third run, and it's almost done, I think. There's just about a week left, if I'm not mistaken. So I saw the second run, and I did not expect to be bowled over like that. I did not. It took me completely by surprise. I mean, I set my expectations pretty high, knowing the kind of talent that was going to be on stage, and a bunch of them were my friends. So my bar was here, and I didn't expect it to be exceeded. And and Floyd Quintos worked on, I think, the dramaturgy for this, for the second run, and it was from what I'd heard from the first and the second runs, when he got his fingers into it, it became an even better show. So this is something I think that Resorts World Manila can be proud of, and hopefully they continue to develop more and more original material. And it's great that many of the venues here on the property continue to provide stages for many Filipino talents. I mean, of different kinds. I mean, there's show bands, there are singers, there are theater actors, and there are different venues, different sizes, different objectives, I guess, if you will. And they seem to be like hitting all the boxes and checking everything. So, if anything, it's great for somebody local like me as an audience member to come to the property and be able to just watch a random performer and know that I'll get a good show.
Thank you for the appreciation of what we do here at Resorts World Manila. On behalf of the Resorts World Manila family, you serve as an inspiration for all of us to continue what we're doing, of course, promoting our very own world-class Filipino talent. Thank you so much, Ms. Leia, for entertaining my questions. Now, of course, I open the floor to our friends from the media. I'm sure they have lots of questions, so please just raise your hand, and our friends from our special events and public relations teams will come over to you and hand you a microphone. Thank you.
Okay, young lady in the front in the pink.
Thanks, Leah. Hi. Can you give us an idea of the lineup of the concert? And
Well,
is it similar to the Human Heart? Or completely different the Human Heart tour?
I think, well, I was just looking at it. I was looking at a tentative song list, and I'm like, okay, we need to reorder this, we need to eliminate that, we need to take that out, we need to add this in. So the lineup itself has not been like locked and loaded yet, but we still have the time to kind of figure out what the final one is going to be. And Gerard's also traveling. He headed to Denmark. He's doing, I think, recordings over there. So yeah, so if I'm not busy flitting away, it's his turn, which frustrates our mom a lot because, hi, when are you gonna do this? You're both not home. But I think definitely we're doing a lot of music that is familiar to audiences that are familiar with what we do. So I think it'll just be a good showcase for the vocal talent that will be on stage. So once we've cemented everything, then yeah, then it's easy to talk about. But there's between dress rehearsal and the first night, even things could change then.
It's going to be more of the musical theater.
It's kind of, I think, an even mix of everything.
Thank you. Next question, please. Please raise your hand and
Unless food coma hit.
it's the steak. Okay, while you guys are thinking about your next question, I have a question from Facebook. Yeah? Okay, yes. Who or what inspired you to get into musical theater?
Oh, okay. Credit to this has to go to my cousin Ria, who is also a niece of Baby Barreto, who was one of the founders of Repertory Philippines. Ria, at the time, was very active in rap. And I think at a family party, I was singing, which I tend to do. And Ria spotted me and told my mother, Ati Bebeng, you're gonna have to bring Leia to Manila to audition for Looking at I for repertory. I think she'll get in. So it was a family connection that started this whole thing that seems to be continuing. I went, I auditioned, very loudly sang, and didn't show any fear when Tita Bibot was in front of me. So I guess not being intimidated by Zenaida Amador was my way in. Maybe that was part of it. So yeah, so what inspired me to get into this, it was a member of my family. And it wasn't even something I knew I would fall in love with later. That would happen later.
There's this history from that day. Your cousin spoke to you about it. The rest is history now. Next question, please.
A question.
Yes, Oliver.
The genius Fly Quintos is not usually your. It doesn't really direct you.
He has before. This
before.
is not the first time we're working together, but
Okay.
yeah, mostly for concerts, it's Bobby Garcia who does.
I'm assuming it's also writing your skills for this.
Yeah,
Or
we
are you
definitely
looking
have to
forward?
collaborate on this. But it's something that, well, I mean, given what his work in El Vivo turned out to be, I think we're safe. We're in safe hands with him.
And since you usually have an Aladdin section in the show of in your concerts, are you thinking of having Speechless this time?
I don't know if there's time to create an arreglo for that because orchestrations take a little bit of time. I'm gonna have to talk it over first with the other gents who are involved in this, if we can add that. But I knew that I loved the song when I first heard it, and I think people are familiar with it, and it's such an appropriate song in the #MeToo era, so it might be something that might be a fun addition. So that's definitely something up for discussion. But I cannot commit to that yet. Okay, I know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we have room for one more question from the floor. Yes,
Okay.
very eagerly.
Go ahead. Do you have a microphone so we can all hear the...
She's very eager.
Oh, may naman siya dyan. All right.
Hi, I'm Jasmine in Manila. I'm now studying music, and we had one assignment before. We were asked to list down the inspiration that we had to pursue music. And our majors, which were a bunch of theater students, we've all listed you as number one. So I would just like to ask, what would you like to tell my classmates or your message? Because a lot of them are experiencing things right now that I don't know if you may have experienced, like rejection from auditions or things like
Oh,
that.
plenty. I don't get every job that I audition for, and it's a healthy thing. If that doesn't make you tough, I don't know what will. But let me tell you a story. A couple of good friends of mine in college, their son is now pursuing theater. But there's some performing track, but also the playwriting track, and he and I just had a conversation about a play that he's currently developing and writing. And this is a college student in the States. And his ideas were things that I'm like, oh my God, I can totally ride on everything that you're giving me. But when he was 14 years old and we saw each other in New York, now he's about 18, 19. So 5 years ago we were in New York, all of us. Him, his younger brother, and his parents. And he expressed an interest in doing theater and he had to remind me of this conversation. He's like, and I asked him, why do you want to do this? And he said, well, because I love it. And I'm like, well, what if it doesn't love you back? And that's right? So doing this is one of the toughest things. This is one of the toughest performing art forms. You have to want to do this more than you want to make love to your partner. I'm not even joking. You guys think I'm kidding. But it has to be something that you want. It has to be a basic necessity like oxygen and water and food. It cannot be, wala lang, kasi gusto ko lang. It's not enough motivation to do theater, whether straight theater or musical theater. You have to read this. It has to be a desire that exceeds every reptilian desire you have. It has to exceed that. You have to really desire it from the innermost parts of your soul. And I sound like I'm speaking in hyperbole, but theater doesn't always love people back. It's one of those things that's just so gosh darn hard, even for people that have a gazillion Tony Awards in their living room. It's hard, and it's heartbreaking, and it can be vicious and fickle, and it's not always kind. So, but you still want to have a relationship with it, and you have to stick to it. It's an interesting mistress to have.
I couldn't agree more, because here in Resorts World, I've been working closely with our theater guys in Vivo and our previous musicals, and I always see them from script reading to rehearsals to the last show day, and the level of dedication and passion of you kind of people, I cannot even explain.
It's a lot of hard work, and it's something I try to instill in my team on The Voice also, that yes, you're on my team, your expectation is this. I cannot promise you a win. That's just stupid. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to be like the next winner of The Voice Kids or The Voice of the Philippines or The Voice Teens. I can't do that. I can give you the tools with which you can navigate this. I will teach you about professionalism. I will teach you about discipline. I will teach you about the demand of all these things of yourself. Before anybody else demands that of you, you have to ask that of yourself. So I find out that one of my kids on The Voice Teens is nominated for 2 AWID Awards, and I'm like over the moon, and I'm just, what? So I've had a very exciting couple of days since I came home. So it's been a really, really nice couple of days finding out and nominations, and a lot of the kids from The Voice, I think JK, Labajo, and Karen Espada, even Ellen Nympha, I think they all have nominations.
They
So
blossomed into.
I know. So it's just been quite the ride for all of these young people, and it makes us all feel very proud.
Did we answer your question? Yes? Are we live on Facebook as your teacher watching? You're gonna get straight A's, all of you and your classmates. So we're feeling generous. We are going to accommodate just one more last question. Yes.
Wait, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Hi, Leia.
My apologies. Yes,
I think bagay sa'yo yung title talaga ng show because you sing, for me, everything so perfectly.
Thank you.
But in all of the concerts you've done, have there been times when it was more important for you to take risks than be an excellent artist? And are there times when you recognize your limitations?
Okay, let me try and answer the second one first because there was a time, I think especially in my 20s and 30s, where I thought that I had a cap on my voice and on my range. And then I tried something else, and then I realized, oh, kaya ko pala yun. So there was a switch that kind of clicked in my brain where, and it worried my mom because for one concert, for like the 40th anniversary one, I sang in soprano, which is something I normally don't do. And I think she ended up praying, I don't know how many rosaries and lit so many candles just to make sure that it came out right. And I think that's a risk to take. A risk for me because it's not something I've ever really done in public before. So it's a performer risk. And two, no one's ever heard me really sing like that. I mean, yeah, I did My Fair Lady, but this was kind of a little different, and this was something that I had not really done to that extent. So I wasn't sure how the audience was going to receive it, especially an audience here that's accustomed to me singing in a very particular way. And I think it got noticed pretty well. I think people were happy with the performance, and so it's like, okay, that was a risk that was worth taking. Never mind kung maglalabas din ako ng konti with that, and doing something that I knew was going to be challenging and difficult. And over the course of the UK tour, I've been singing more things that have kind of been challenging my range, like the upper register. And it seems that my voice hasn't kind of started to like dive down. Because normally the older you get, it kind of starts to get lower. But it's, by the grace of God, it's whatever miracles there are happening, it's still where it's always been. Which means I can try pushing it a little bit more. And on the last day, actually, my voice teacher showed up and she came to the concert and she said that everything sounded really healthy. So yeah, so sometimes even during a performance, something will click in my brain, like, let me see if I can try to hit this note, even if I hadn't done it in rehearsal. And that's just complete bahala na si Batman dito. And it's important to do that because it kind of makes me feel that I can stretch the limits still. So it's exciting for me as a performer that I'm able to still do that.
Thank you, thank you. For more questions, maybe we. Okay, just one more. You are so lucky this afternoon. Just one more question.
I enjoy One Music PH. Ms. Leia, you've mentioned about the voice kids. Can you name, if you're to name 10 young budding artists, can you name 10 who you think will go a long way in terms of musical career?
That's hard, since this is only the fourth season of The Voice.
Not necessarily from the voice,
just in
but
general.
among the young budding
The
artists.
young budding artists of whatever age,
Yeah.
I haven't listened to everybody. So I'm definitely going to exclude names. But as far as say musical theater, people like Kayla Rivera, Kat Pangilinan, who are just now like really emerging and who are, I love those two that they played twins in Sideshow, and they were so impressive then. As far as what else I'm trying for the men. I'm not trying to think. People like Armand Ferrer is wonderful, David Ezra. Let's see. This one's not an up and comer because he's already abroad. Joaquin Valdez, who was Harry Wormwood in Matilda, and now he's doing The King and I. He's in Japan now, and I don't know what the future holds for him, but I mean it looks incredibly promising for his career outside of the Philippines. see. There are a lot of young people now. I mean, when I saw when I saw Beautiful, George Schultz was so good. Of course, Mickey Bradshaw was incredible, and we've gotten to work together. Jack Go, who also did the Apple musical for 9 Words. I think there's more. I don't know, but off the top of my head, they're the ones I can think about.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's about it for our Q&A from our friends from the media and from Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Resorts World Manila Facebook page. For pocket interviews, we'll have Ms. Leia go over the table of our media friends from the TV first, to be followed by our friends from print and online. Once again, on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for accommodating our questions this afternoon. Again, ladies and gentlemen, today's press conference is, of course, for Perfect 10, a gala performance on August 30 and 31 at the Newport Performing Arts Theater in celebration, of course, of Resorts World Manila's first decade in the industry. Ms. Leia will be joined by her special guests, Michael K. Lee, Esang De Torres, Nicole Chen, and Tanya Manala. Perfect 10 also is presented by Resorts World Manila and Ultimate Shows Incorporated, with, of course, stage direction by Mr. Floyd Quitos, musical direction by Maestro Gerard Salonga, together with the ABS-CBN Philharmonic Orchestra. Once again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and we'd like to thank again Wolfgang Steakhouse for hosting our press conference this afternoon. Before I let you go, I'd like to invite the executives of Wolfgang's to join you.